Give me the countdown.
Good afternoon, folks, and welcome inside the Credit Union Place here in Summerside, PEI, as we get set for the final game of the Summerside Showcase. As I'd like to welcome you inside here on High Button Sports. Logan Crothers and Matt Dudelay on color as we get set for the final game of the tournament between the Moncton Rocket and the Western Wolves. As we are underway, McGuigan will work it up the half wall and into the zone. Arsenault plays it D to D, and all the way back, Boutlier will have to go for it. Boutlier rims it around here for Annabelle Daniel, who had a great game this morning, coming off a 4-point game this morning. She had a hat trick and an assist to go along with the 3 goals. As that puck to the far side, Boutlier down low, Daniel in there, pressured out by McGuigan. Up top, Daniel from her knees leaves it for Boutlier, who works it back down low. Boutlier trying to work it towards the front of the net. She spins away down in the corner. McGuigan pinches her off, and it's cleared. Stevenson right on the stick of Ward. Ward gathers the puck, tries to work it down low over the top of the circles as that puck back to Boutlier. At the point, shot on, tipped, rebound, looking for it in front was Cormier. She took a cross check from McGuigan, and that goes all the way down to the far side where Stevenson will chip it into the neutral zone. Not enough for icing, though.
Yeah, great start here from the Rockets. Pure pressure so far in the first couple minutes.
Daniel leaves it there for McFadden right in on net and held on to for a whistle. We'll get to the starting introductions for the goaltenders. Starting in net for the Western Wolves, number 35, Alexa Aiken. 200 feet for her is number 31, Claire Fournette. McFadden offensive zone draw on her forehand this time. She'll win it down low. Lily Pollard, fresh off a 3-game suspension, she gets inserted into the roster here in the final game of the tournament.
Little injection of fresh legs here for the Rockets. Not that they seem like they need it so far throughout this showcase. They've, I think they fell to the first game to the Surge, and since then haven't looked back.
Yeah, they had a big win this morning over the Kraken, I believe, or they might have faced off against the Capitals. No, sorry, I think this morning.
Hard to keep track.
Yeah, a lot of games here this weekend. And the final game here today will be between the Wolves and the Rockets, as that's Poirier. Works it in. Poirier's shot into the chest. Rebound was sitting loose next to the net, and the whistle gone early. Must have lost sight of the puck on those black jerseys of the Wolves.
Yeah, and I know as a referee myself, it's, sometimes you kind of base it on the position of the goaltender. It looked like she had that covered up. Your ref was in proper position. She was over there. Sometimes you lose sight of the puck, just like any other thing on your day-to-day life.
Yeah, and it's tough, too, with those black jerseys. The puck kind of just blends in all together, and from the way she saved it, it looked like she just kind of had it in her chest, but it was sitting actually down behind her, and trying to drive it down in behind the net there was Audrey Poirier. She wears the C this year for the Rocket, as she'll take that one-on-one, poked off of the stick there as the puck down in behind the net. Rodier works it up for Zoe Elaine down the far side. She'll center for no one really in particular as her teammates headed off for a change, as that's dumped in by Duncan. Kinley Duncan had a pretty good game earlier in the tournament. I think she had 4 points in a matchup earlier this weekend, as that'll be picked up by Arsenault and skated up into the neutral zone. Nice pass there. As that'll be a call up into the lineup for the Rockets. We'll have to get a name and number there for her. She played this morning, played a really good game, drew a couple penalties and a couple chances. She's not afraid to drive the net and get the garbage goals, quote unquote, to say, as that gets sent in. Stevenson on it first. In her feet, looking around for it. Now she'll find it and work it back to the point where Gamble will collect it towards the net. Shot on pad save. Fournette kicks the rebound out, and that'll be collected there.
Jocelyn McDonald is number 6 here for the Rockets, and other than the no name bar, the black helmet sticks out, but I was impressed with her game last game here earlier today. You just kind of get inserted to a top team here, and sometimes it's a little bit tougher to get adjusted, but she's looked pretty comfortable so far.
Yeah, the first place Rockets coming into this game, they currently sit 18-3-1. They got 37 points on the year. They're in first place. and they come into the game. They got 22 games played. But, yeah, like you said, sometimes you notice a call-up because of their jersey or something like that. Maybe they stick out because they hadn't played at this level. They're maybe a step behind. But she was inserted into the lineup, and really she stood out because she played so well, and that's the reason she stood out. And you kind of recognize her out here now in this game. Obviously, different helmet, but like you said, like the APs sometimes stick out, but she stuck out for a good reason, and she's deserved a second opportunity here in this afternoon's game.
Yeah, and shout out to the coaches too for the Rockets getting her inserted into the lineup. Not only that, but putting her in some tougher positions, getting her some power play and penalty kill time. Just, the more you do it, the better you feel, right? So, and that's all there is to it, really.
Yeah, and especially on a top place team, you're probably coming in a little nervous, and I'm sure you're trying to just worry about keeping it simple, but the coaches, putting her into all positions in all spots, and it's kind of easy when you're playing with a player like Annabelle Daniel, still a rookie in the league, but man, she can really take over a game, that's for sure.
Yeah, not only a rookie in the league, but an underager, Logan. So that's what I'm told anyways. A lot of the times my information is wrong. I'll be the first to admit that. But in this particular instance here, she's been fun to watch, and there's been a lot of girls, not just to single her out, but a lot of girls that have been very impressed with this so far this weekend.
Yeah, this weekend and really this year, man. Like they've really put on a show at all these showcase games, and I've been fortunate. I've done a lot of these Wolves games, and they've had some really good matchups in the last couple weeks over in PEI, over playing up just 30 minutes away in Wellington. And like you said, really impressed with everything I've seen so far from these ladies here in the first half of the season. As that'll be picked up down low as the power play. 40 seconds still remaining on that as Poirier works it up for Annabelle Daniel at the point. Daniel will collect it and work it to the short side here for Marissa Richard. Richard looking to the middle of the ice. She protects the puck well, works it back. Poirier, she'll spin at the blue line, back down for Daniel. Finds Richard towards the net. Richard back door. Ward shot up and over the net as Lauren Ward had an opportunity to make it 1-0 here on a power play goal, but she shuffled it up over. I think the puck might have flipped up on her stick there. Here's Richard's shot into the chest. Rebound loose. Still loose in front. I can see it from here, and now it'll be held on to as banging away at it was Chanel Cormier and Marissa Richard.
Richard, yesterday's player of the day, 2 goals in the matchup, and now it looks like she's going to be penalized. Yeah, here. So player of the day, sometimes you still take penalties.
Yeah, and it happens, I've 4-minute head contact call. I've definitely served my fair share of those, that's for sure.
Is there anything more frustrating, Logan, than getting a penalty that you obviously don't think you deserve, and not being able to get in the penalty box door? Does that just not add to it?
You jam down at the door and it doesn't open. You're like, why? Out of all the times, I've watched countless number of people go into the box before me and after me, and there's no problem. But the one time I go, decides to stick on you.
That's how she goes. So 4-on-4 here for 2 seconds, and then it's a 4-minute power play for the Wolves.
So some 4-on-4 here is now it'll be 5-on-4. The Wolves with I guess not really an abbreviated power play, as it's a 4-minute head contact call, and there wasn't too much time left on the clock as McGuigan will pick it up and wheel it in behind her net down the far side wall. She'll look for an outlet through the middle. Pass Plord right on the stick. Thomas shot, blocker save, rebound loose in the slot. As following up was McNeil. Duncan's shot. Duncan looking to continue the hot hand she had in a game earlier. As I was saying earlier in the broadcast, I believe she had a 4-point game there earlier this weekend. I can't really remember who it was against, though, but I think she had, I believe, maybe two goals and 2 assists. She had a big game, though, and helped her team, I believe, win against, can't really remember who. It was a lot of games.
Fundy Kraken, 1 goal, 2 assists according to the stats here. So
yeah. 1 goal, 2 assists, but the assists weren't just just kind of chip it in and them work it out front and her pick up the secondary. They were primary assists, nice plays by her to set up the goals. So she looks to continue that here into this game.
One thing I like about Duncan, sorry to interrupt you there, while I can touch on that, is she goes to those hard areas. Maybe not the tallest or biggest player out there, but she's not afraid to get down and dirty down there on the ice. She gets to those hard areas and goes to the net, and that's where you get rewarded here. The hockey gods look out for that kind of stuff.
And exactly as she looks to continue it here into the game against the top place Moncton Rocket. As Cormier collects and works it for Poirier over to the far side. She'll dump it down and kill off some more time here. Minute and a half expiring on the power play for the Wolves. They look to get the puck back. That's Murray will pressure McFadden, dumping it down low. She'll keep it all the way 200 feet away from what she calls the D zone as it goes all the way down in behind. Fournette out to stop it up. She'll leave it there. Good job by Cormier. That's Chanel Cormier as Melody Cormier wears number 19 as McFadden gets close to center, dumps it down, no icing. Savoie stops up in front of the net of goaltender Alexa Aiken. Haven't really had to say her name much so far here in the early goings as that's picked up. McNeil will take her time, working it up through the neutral zone. McNeil now with some speed. She's going to drive wide, and she's going to get taken out. Poirier, good job there defensively, not to take a call to send them down 5-on-3. Duncan towards the net, and Cormier gloved a stick and out into the neutral zone.
That could have been one of those scary hits there with Poirier and McNeil down the left side, but if you notice, Logan, here at the Credit Union Place, the stanchions where they would normally be are kind of rounded on the glass, so they were able to slide off that. So just fantastic design here.
Yeah, and you don't see that in many rinks, obviously a couple here and there, but I remember playing and, as a defenseman, you see a guy cutting wide right at the blue line, you're like, well, I know where that stanchion is, and you're going to try to drive people in there. It's just a habit of, nature of wanting to, take people out of the play, but with that new design, it kind of makes it impossible. That being said, it obviously preventing some injuries is kind of the key focus there, and it's done its job here so far. As well in the NHL, you see it in pretty much all the buildings now. You don't see any more stanchions with just that padding. That padding really doesn't do much.
That takes away the initial blow anyways.
Yeah, but still, you're running into something pretty solid. So you're not moving it. It's moving you back. And I've definitely seen some scary hits there, but it's still part of the game. And the players have adapted well. The leagues have adapted well. And like I said, you're not seeing it in all the buildings, more the fancier ones. And it's a good addition definitely for the game to keep the players as healthy as they possibly can throughout an extended season. Puck worked back down the far side. Here's a chance. Short-handed is getting inserted into right in, as we were mentioning, is she gets inserted right into all the power play and penalty kill time. I'm not so much on the power play, but penalty kill for sure. She's done an excellent job here. Poirier in the neutral zone. Daniel out there. Daniel across the blue line, finds back for Poirier, leaves it for Daniel, poked off of her stick as Gamble in her feet, chips into the neutral zone. Fitzpatrick sends it right back in. She'll peel off for a change. Working it in, dumping it down, Misha Pino. She's been pretty good for the Wolves. Long, rangy defenseman and wearing an assistant captain this year for the Wolves.
Very good skater.
Very good skater, yes. Long legs, gets her up and down the ice, and she seems to be all over the ice, even offensive or defensive zone.
One thing I look for in strong skaters especially is the control on their edges. It's one thing to be super fast. I think of, aging myself a little bit here, but most people probably know Luis Mendoza on the Mighty Ducks, fastest guy, but just wasn't really effective. But Pino, I really like the way she skates. She's in control, and she understands what's going on out there on her skates.
And you can say the same thing for the defenseman and the captain for the Rockets and Audrey Poirier, one of the best skaters I've seen in a long time. Just very smooth with the puck and without the puck.
And she's very deceptive too. You never really can predict which way she's going to go, and that's kind of part of what makes her effective amongst the other skill sets that she does have.
Exactly, and a good leader too, obviously leading her team to a first place here before Christmas, and they look to keep it going into the second half of the season, I'm sure, as Colpitt's trying to get a cycle going here, and the Rocket look to get on the board, still tied up at 0 here.
Oh.
Centering pass, the glove off the hand, as now it gets picked up Rodier as McNeil shot from distance, steered away by Fournette into the corner. Bootleer, D-to-D, Arsenault. Pressured, Thomas, good forecheck out front, good stick by Fournette, taking away the pass in front. As you see goalies now, almost as a defenseman, taking away that pass from in behind the net with their paddle or their stick, and it's a great defensive mechanism to kind of make the player from down low either have to sauce it or go around the stick to get it out there. And that was a great play by Claire Fournette, doing a great job shutting that down. And she's been pretty good here so far in this first half of the year. Dudes, what are the stats line for her looking like so far, almost to the Christmas break?
Claire Fournette, she's got 11 games. Faced 244 shots. She's got a .918 save percentage and a 1.81 goals against average. And listen, I'm telling you, when you're giving up less than 2 goals a game on average, you're putting your team in a pretty good chance to win some games. And likewise on the other side here, even the girl backing up here today, they've had a pretty good tandem so far, and they're looking to obviously good goaltending's a great addition for a championship team, but still early in the season here. So, like you said, trying to get to Christmas, maybe staying in first place, but she's a long way from over just yet.
Exactly, and you see all the people talk about in the NHL is, you know, Stuart Skinner, when he has a below goals against average of 2, with the offensive weapons the Oilers have, they win games. It doesn't matter. If he gives up less than 2, they're going to win the game. And I guess same thing kind of going here for the Rocket, as Fournette under 2, and they have some great offensive weapons. Do the Rockets and a rookie Annabelle Daniel. As that puck, Savoie clears out of harm's way as it sat in the slot. Misha Pinot will work it D-to-D for Gamble, who work it right up the wall.
Nice play.
For Mills, quick attack back the other way as the Wolves trying to catch the Rockets on a change. Past Ward, can't get a stick on it. Icing waved off. Melody Cormier gets to it first for Annabelle Daniel. Daniel to the point. Poirier's shot on net, pad save. I don't think she really saw that one in front there, as she'll hold on for a whistle. Is Alexa Aiken. I think she didn't really see that puck, but what does the stat line there say for her, dudes?
Well, not exactly slouching numbers either. 301 shots against, 3.32 goals against average, 8.94 save percentage. Still respectable numbers, especially for this Wolves team who's, you know, they find themselves at the lower half of the standings, but at the same time, they're getting some good goaltending, and that's what's keeping them in these games as well.
Exactly, and we can say the same about one of the Kraken goalies. She's been unbelievable. She actually tried out. We were talking with a couple of the coaches. She was actually cut from the Rocket for these 2 goalies they have now, and she's been pretty good for the Kraken in between the pipes. She's faced a lot of shots. Their team's, you know, struggling this year, but a younger, newer franchise into the league. They look to establish themselves. You know, their coach, Andy Bizzo, he's a hardworking guy, played a couple games in the NHL, fourth line kind of guy. He knows his team, what his team has to offer, and that's hard work, and they definitely play the full 60, and that's a goal from the Rocket. What a play. Annabelle Daniel finds Ward in front, and Ward buries it home for the first goal of the game. What a goal there. Annabelle Daniel on a nice feed, and Lauren Ward breaks open the scoring here. 1-0 Rocket.
You know, I on the couple games I've called so far, one of the normal things that I brought up was these 2-3-foot passes just outside the offensive blue line. The Rockets, a great example there. Poirier gains the blue line, and then she dishes it off to the inside. All of a sudden, you isolate that D-man, and Ward finds a lane, and they find it to her. That was just a beautiful zone entry, and obviously they were rewarded for that, so nice goal.
Absolutely, and you talk about just those 3-foot passes. It makes the defense shift over, and it also changes where the goalie's looking, right? Those 3-foot passes, the goalie's got to keep shuffling one way, and maybe she gets caught looking one way, and a 3-foot pass back the other way, and she can't really get set in time, and Ward was alone in front there. She drove down towards the net, and a great feed. Annabelle Daniels kind of stopping up and just sliding it to her, and a great feed there as she kind of created her own space from the defenseman by stopping up and working it to the front of the net for Lauren Ward, who, with a pretty good season so far under her belt as well. We talk about Annabelle Daniel, but Lauren Ward has had a pretty good year as well. She was off to a great start, and she's looking to carry that into Christmas break as well. And I know this tournament, she's had a pretty decent set of numbers as well. And those probably top 2 point getters for the Rocket, I believe, in Lauren Ward and Annabelle Daniel, at least up front at least. I know Poirier's probably up there as well. She's in kind of seemingly on mostly every goal. Savoie taking McPherson down. No call, they'll play on. McDonald will send it in. Great job there, keeping it simple. in her second appearance here at the showcase. Cormier shot from distance, sent wide over to the far side, held in on the far side wall. Bourgeois, nice little touch pass down. McFadden delaying, finds Cormier, who will walk it in, let a shot go, blocker save. Aiken doing a great job here so far. 5 minutes remaining on the clock here in the opening period. 1-0 the score for the Rocket. Aiken keeping everything calm as here's a chance through the crease. Aiken staying calm and letting it slide through. Cormier, point shot right into the chest and held on to, as we mentioned. As I was talking about it, Aiken doing a great job not allowing a lot of rebounds to sit around that one, right into her chest and held on to nothing. Popping out there for the Rocket to try to bury home.
9 shots so far here in the first period for the Rockets. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of shots as a whole number, but a few grade A chances so far, a couple power play opportunities, and of course some slot shots there. But the one thing I liked about that was she was out to challenge the shooter. They had a couple Rockets just kind of peeled off to each post, but the defense were able to kind of box out and keep those tied up, so that allowed her to get out there and challenge that shooter.
Yeah, the puck sticking kind of to her like a Velcro there, and it's going to need to stay that way here as the Rockets are buzzing in the offensive zone and accumulating some offensive zone time. Rodier down low will try to cycle it back as it goes up to the far side. Poirier stepping in from the far side point to keep it in as she collects. Nice move through the feet. Poirier out of the corner. Poirier trying to lift it upstairs. Goes up and into the mesh out of play. That's
kind of one of those plays where you, in your head you're going, I'm going to try this move, and then it works, and you almost scare yourself because you get in so close and so fast that oh geez, I didn't realize I was going to have that much time. But really her only option was short side as the back post was taken up, and obviously trying to shovel that up in the top stairs right there is a little bit tougher than it looks from down at ice level than it's up here in the eagle eye view.
Yeah, I didn't have too many of those opportunities, so I don't really know that feeling, but I'm sure you do. But
yeah, if Coach saw you do that, he'd probably be on the bench for a couple shifts.
Yeah, even though I pulled it off, he probably was like, what are you thinking even trying that? But we'll leave that for another time as Audrey Poirier shot there. She's looking to capitalize, a pile up in front. Here is Melody Cormier looking for the rebound, but none once again. Doing a great job. Aiken, the puck sticking to her like Velcro, and as I was mentioning, it's going to need to stay that way here. 4:01 remaining in the opening period.
And her goalie partner, Peyton Crozier, with a couple games that I've seen so far, so they got a pretty good little goalie tandem. Goaltending is at a premium here in this Maritime Major Girls Hockey League. It seems like a lot of teams with all really good goalies, and yeah, I mean, that's kind of the name of the game. You want to win some games.
Absolutely, and you look at the goaltending tandem for the Surge, and heads up, Fournette trying to play it, and it's going to be whistled down as driving the net, trying to poke it in was Thomas, and she kind of ran into Fournette there. Thomas always working her tail off. She's a goer. She's an energy bug for the Wolves, and she goes every shift as hard as she can. And you see an example there, trying to slow down. She definitely did slow down a little bit, but still running into Claire Fournette, trying to get that loose puck. Fournette kind of had a little bit of trouble with that one.
Yeah, it was just a shot that I think she thought was going to get there a little faster than intended, and of course sometimes that goalie's a lot of timing and stuff like that, so it just kind of buckled her a little bit, but she was able to stay focused, and even she stopped a body and a puck there in that shift. So
as the Rocket 2-on-1, Plourde looking to get back into the action after a 3-game suspension, works it in low. Marissa Richard works it out for Plourde. Good job by Stevenson to take that opportunity away off the boards as Boutlier had trouble with it. She fans on the pass, but will collect it, trying to work it on a move at the blue line and turn it over. Arsenault kicks it up far side. McFadden, nice little move. She'll chip it into herself. Her and Webster were going to go battle for it down low as McPherson gets in there to help out. As you were mentioning, Peyton Crozier, I've watched and I've streamed a couple of her games, and she's made some spectacular saves. She has a little camera in behind her net. I'd love to see some of the footage that she's caught on that throughout the year so far.
Great tool to have. Obviously, we can attest to that being a media business and all that. But, yeah, you see that's kind of more the norm now. It's a lot of video stuff, right? It's one thing to hear what you're supposed to be doing, but to hear it and then see it, and that's a game changer as far as development.
Yeah, and a pretty cool little thing. I've seen it a couple times at the Wellington Arena. They're just half an hour away doing a couple of the games for them, and yeah, as I mentioned, I've called a couple games, and she's made some spectacular saves, like post-to-post pad save, blocker save, and she's kind of done it all, and she's kind of been the backbone here for the Wolves as well with Alexa Aiken. Gamble stepping in, holds the line, trying to work it back down low, but can't do so. And back the other way here, Savoie through the neutral zone, pressured by McAdam as it gets past Murray in, as Savoie still going to stick with it and give chase. Puck to the point, sent right back here. Savoie looking back door off the stick of Pinot. As that one could have been a dangerous opportunity if she could have got it around Misha Pinot, but a great defensive play. She read that, and she'll work it into the neutral zone, get center, dump it in, stop up, and peel off for a change. Fournette backhands it around for Bourgeois as we're inside 2 minutes to play here in the opening period. McDonald chips it ahead for Savoie, who works it over the blue line, pressured by McNeil. Another player I've been impressed with here so far. McNeil, the captain for the Wolves. Same thing, always giving 110%. Nice move by Poirier over the blue line. Shot right into the chest, and no rebound once again. Aiken squeezing it into her chest and holding it on for whistle.
Once again, those deceptive edges from Poirier. She kind of stepped on that left foot, looking like she was going to bust wide, pulled the puck back into the middle, and all of a sudden you crisscross the D-man and get yourself a good shot. But I don't even know if I'd like my chances against her right now, being so far removed from the game. And the skill level is just insane these days on these hockey players, right from the 11-year-old age group right up to the NHL and the PWHL and all that. It's just it's really fun to watch. Hockey's in a really cool spot right now.
Yeah, and it especially you talk about hockey being in a cool spot. It's in that combination of still some of the old school style hockey you watched on TV, and you still see some replays on today, still on TV, those older style games, and then that new era of skill that's getting placed into the game. And we saw there, Poirier just tried a Michigan attempt.
She's
tried to
old
get it
school.
up on
I
her
call
blade.
that the Crosby, not the Michigan.
No. She tried to pick it up like on her blade, like Crosby would try to wrap it around. She tried to flip it up like a Zegras almost.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though with the old school. That people call it the Zegras, but Crosby did it way before those guys.
So yeah, as we were talking about that new skill coming into the league, you just saw there, she had it up, kind of flipped, but she couldn't get it up and scooped under like a lacrosse move, and that'll be worked back. Rodier loses control and picked up here over the blue line. Murray trying to center and picked off. McFadden will wheel it back here with 15 seconds remaining on the clock. Across the blue line, McFadden drives wide down the far side to the middle. Backhand scores! Thea McFadden with 7.9 seconds remaining on the clock gives the Rocket a 2-0 lead. What a move there by Thea McFadden. She drove wide down low, cut to the middle, and ripped it backhand up over the glove of Alexa Aiken.
Yeah, the defense just kind of got caught puck watching there, but with 15 seconds left, each move she made, you're thinking, okay, when's the shot coming? When's the shot coming? All of a sudden she got herself in tight. Only spot she could go was across back the other way, backhand, and boy, did she ever put that upstairs for goal number 8 on the season.
Yeah, that was a spectacular one at that. As puck dropped here at center, a little bit of battle off the draw. As they'll rag out the last few seconds on the clock in the first period. Bootleer cycling back in her own zone, and that'll do it here for the first period of play. So after the first period, an impressive start from the Rocket. They lead 2-0. Dudes, any initial thoughts on the first period?
No, I thought it was a good first period of play. I thought Moncton controlled play earlier on in the first period. Wolves had a little bit of a pushback there, and then kind of after that 4-minute power play, things fizzled out a little bit, and the game kind of evened itself out. But 10-4 the shots. I mean, this game's right there for the taking. 2-goal lead, worst lead in hockey, as they say. Not sure who came up with it, but that's a good first 20 minutes, and good first 20 minutes to finish off the final game here of the showcase. So we'll step aside here for a minute, and we'll be back soon, hey?
Yeah, absolutely. We're back here momentarily, 10 minutes time. welcome back here for our second period of action. The Rocket coming into the period, 2-0 lead on a late goal from Thea McFadden, and a beautiful one at that, as she walked in and just a backhand right upstairs is a nice move on the defenseman with 7 seconds remaining on the clock in the opening period. Puck sent in here. Boutlier will gather it in behind her net. She'll use her net to protect herself as it's worked up the wall for Daniel into the neutral zone. Ward.
Ooh.
She had the opening goal here for the Rocket as she gets it ahead for Cormier, driving towards the net and poked away by Aiken. Chipped back into the neutral zone and sent right back here by Boutlier, but that'll be picked up, shot in by Richards, and then that'll be Arsenault gathering, move around one, can't get it there. Here's a blocker save and tested out there early in the second period. Claire Fournette coming up with the big save there. Boutlier to the middle of the ice, chipped past there was Annabelle Daniel, and she'll head off for the change as Misha Pinot collects him behind her net. She'll stop up and set up a breakout. She'll rim it up the wall here, but McAdam was circling to the middle, just kind of disconnected, and here's McFadden. She had the 2-0 lead goal here in late stages of the first period. She's back out there now in the second period. Cormier's shot blocked by Pinot. Plourde works it back to the point and out as Cormier had fallen down as she released the shot. She's a little shaken up. She's kind of grabbing at her chin guard a little bit there. Maybe kinked her neck a little bit on the fall or something like that. But,
or a ring in the ear maybe.
Yeah, so hopefully she's okay. She'll stay out there. And
usually a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be hard to pull any player off the ice unless they're absolutely needing to go off of something serious. So Cormier goes back for that, and we'll see if she'll stay on or if they'll do a D change here. Yes, they will. So maybe she'll get checked out over on the bench.
Yeah, maybe she went for a pregame swim and has water stuck in there. Who knows? At this point, we have no idea. Pure speculation at this point. So hopefully she's okay. At the end of the day, that's pretty much all you can hope for. But looks like she slotted herself back in there for the next lineup. So looks like she'll be okay.
Colpitts, offensive zone draw, wins it back to Poirier. Works it back down the wall. Zoe Elaine finds Rodger walking to the middle, leaves it there. Colpitts is just going to push it into the corner as they try to get the forecheck established here once again. The Rocket coming out with a good start here in the second period. Elaine down the far side. She'll drive it down low, trying to center, and that'll be intercepted by Murray. Murray's been pretty good for the Wolves here so far this year. Poirier picks it up. Backdoor pass through the feet of Elaine. What a look there. Poirier kind of wasn't really showing, looking more for a shot, and then passed it back to her. Murray, toe drag. Here's a chance, and it goes off of her stick. She tried to toe drag around the defenseman, and it goes off her stick, and Fournette will hold on for a whistle.
So I think Murray was looking for the shot there, trying to use the defender as a screen, but great gap control there. Stick on puck the entire time, and I mean, you're a defenseman, I was a forward. I know it's so tough when you're going in, you have a game plan in mind, and all of a sudden that sticks on the puck the entire time. It kind of just changes your dimension of thinking, and, she ends up getting a half-decent chance out of it, but definitely not what she wanted.
Yeah, I think she was trying to get maybe a toe drag shot away, but when you're trying to get it away and your stick gets checked, it'll just roll off it. And
good defensive play.
A great defensive play as that puck centers. Here's a chance. McDonald trying to find Savoie as she'll pick it up down low. Zoe Savoie will leave it there. For Lauren Ward, she has the goal. She opened the scoring here as they lead 2-0. McDonald and Thomas collide. Big blocker save there on a chance for Lauren Ward. Chipped up and in. Thomas, no icing. Boutlier back for it in her own zone. She'll wheel behind her net. Good job there. Lola Boutlier, a solid defender for the Rocket. And we talk about all these offensive players like Poirier and Ward and Annabelle Daniel, but sometimes forgotten Lola Boutlier. She's a solid defender, and she does stuff like this throughout games, and she's out there for a lot of ice time as well. She's an assistant captain and showing why, because she's a great defender. Stevenson over the line, works it in down low on her forehand, trying to find someone out front. She'll work it all the way back to the point. For McGuigan, got to be careful. She's pressured by Daniel at the line and sent back in as the puck came out of the zone. Bourgeois collects it, chipping it up the wall here, trying to find Cormier, but she had cut to the middle. As that puck picked up, McFadden, toe drag at the blue line, turns it over. Daniel collects it, drops it for McFadden. Worked over here. Cormier, cross ice pass. Daniel, she had a little bit of room on the far side. She'll pick it up, work it for Bourgeois, who will dump it down into the corner. And Annabelle Daniel will give chase. Misha Pinot to it first. And Daniel and Pinot will battle on the end wall in the corner. Daniel back to Bourgeois. She'll fake a shot back for Daniel. Backdoor pass goes through everyone's skates over to the far side corner. Shot there goes through the crease. Over here, will it be able to get held in? No, as Bourgeois will regroup at center ice. Nice little hinge play there by the Rockets. Almost got caught though, was Bourgeois. It'll be picked up. Here's Cormier across the line off of her stick. Oh. Something there with her wrist maybe. She didn't even grab her other, put her hand on her bottom hand on her stick. She had it off. She's maybe got her wrist jammed up there as she heads to the bench.
That's a couple tough shifts for her back there. Just seems to be a couple bad bounces. Hopefully not a bad break, actually. But, yeah. I mean, sometimes those things happen. Hockey's a quick game, and every now and then you get yourself into a spot where you can't protect your hand or whatever the case may be, and sometimes it's just fluke stuff. So hopefully she's okay once again. She's just having a peek there on the bench. I'll keep an eye on her for everybody here at home.
Yeah, and you never want to see anyone get hurt, especially Chanel Cormier, one of the top defensemen. They all are really good defensemen, but she kind of stands out. She kind of does it all as well, up and down the sheet. So it'd be tough to lose someone like her on the blue line, but you do have players like Audrey Poirier and Lola Boutelier who are there to kind of fill those roles. Boutelier, a great defensive defenseman, but she also contributes offensively too, as I was mentioning, is that shot there from Fitzpatrick. She has it at the point, shot on. Here's a chance. Plourde picks up her own rebound off the skate. Plourde cutting over top of the circles. She was almost in the splits trying to control the puck there. As Fitzpatrick now in her own zone. She's pestered there as a delayed call coming up here as Duncan's going to go to the box. Looks like it's going to be for holding as the official has her arm up in the air. We'll wait to hear the call. And a holding call will be the call as Kinley Duncan's going to head to the box here. She was just trying to forecheck hard. Good effort, but can't wrap her up like that.
Yeah, just a little overzealous on it. And kind of once you get tangled up there, it's tough, right? Fitzpatrick did a real good job there of keeping her feet moving and not allowing her to get untangled. And all of a sudden, that penalty is that's an easy one to call, in my opinion. Intentional or not, you get your hands wrapped around the player on the forecheck, and all of a sudden you're going to find yourself in the sin bin. And for two guys that spent a lot of time in the penalty box, Logan, I think we can both agree that was definitely a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially you feel the pressure coming on you. You feel yourself get wrapped up like that. As a defenseman, you're kind of trying to keep them holding on to you so you do get the call. So I'm sure the defender there Fitzpatrick wasn't too worried about her getting held onto. She knew she was going to draw the call. McFadden works it down low. Rodier on the power play here as they get set up. 5-on-4, Boutelier walks across. Shot blocked off the skate of McGuigan to the far side. Centering pass and held onto there. Rodier getting shoved into the net by McGuigan.
I thought she was going to give up and punch her back.
Yeah, so did I. The way she got up, she kind of snapped right back at her.
That's part of McGuigan's game too, though. She's a little bit harder nosed back there. Bigger body on the back end and a good mobile defenseman, and she takes care of the front of the net. I'll just say that.
Yeah, and you know where she gets it from, her dad, Billy.
It's that name, yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. So, I've played multiple games against Summerside. I'm sure you have, and their style really hasn't changed. They're hard-nosed. They work hard. They're not afraid of the physical stuff, as well as they'll drop the gloves with anyone. So maybe the mentality there. The mentality there probably passed down from Billy to his daughter. As you see a backdoor play there, shot on, rebound, kicked out, Ward, shot sent wide. It's the top unit out now for the Rocket. Poirier up top, back down low. Here's a chance from Richard. She'll take it back. Daniel, high slot shot right into the chest. Rebound loose, still there, and finding it and holding on to for a whistle is Aiken.
Yeah, real good job to fight through traffic there, Aiken. There was about 6 or 7 bodies filtered in front of the net there, and she's battling down there. When people say, the goalie's battling, if you're new to the game or you're not a huge fan, you're kind of trying to figure out what do you mean battling in the crease. But, looking around, basically put it to you this way: put some gear on and go play ball hockey or something like that, and see how tough it is down there for the goaltenders. But she's making it look pretty easy down there, despite giving up 2 goals.
Yeah, and in ball hockey, you're not normally getting 3 or 4 different players standing in front of you playing ball hockey. It seems to be a little bit more perimeter. But hockey, like on-ice hockey, is a little different for sure. You got players, and that can be their sole job, is to take away that eyes of the goalie. Is that shot she saw clearly there, and she'll gobble it up for no rebound and a whistle.
I think the Wolves are going to be okay with the shots coming from the perimeter here from the Rockets. You know, obviously Daniel here and Poirier are the trigger ladies on this power play, but you know, if you're going to shoot from the outside, so kudos to the Wolves here for keeping a tight box and keeping everything on the outside so far.
Yeah, and if you can give your goaltender a lane to see the puck, that's all really she's asking for, right? So Poirier will work it for Annabelle Daniels. She'll work it back. Nice give and go, as that almost got McNeil in between Poirier and Daniel. Over here, Ward back for Poirier up top. Looking back, Richard, backdoor Ward into the chest, and no rebound once again. Standing tall and not letting anything bounce off of her is goaltender Alexa Aiken.
Yeah, obviously that's not where Ward was trying to go with that. You and I had the best view probably in the arena other than her up here in the booth, but it looked like she was trying to go back against the grain, and I mean, listen, she had a ton of snow on her stick, and you can see her addressing that there on the bench. So, yeah, just didn't get what she wanted on that, but another good save and good job to smother it up by Aiken.
Yeah, she's not letting anything bounce off of her here so far in the second period. Still 2-0 the score for the Rocket. Their power play has expired. Out of the box, Duncan with a break. Duncan's going to try to get in, but great speed by Arsenault. Another fast defender who kind of plays all different situations for the Rockets. Savoie up the far side. As I was mentioning how good of a defender Lola Butler is, she's out on the second unit for the power play unit producing offense. So you see the skill set demonstrated there by her, as that puck picked off by her just outside the blue line, making sure Stevens doesn't get behind her, as that's sent in by Arsenault and around out to play it. Aiken leaves it for McGuigan up the wall. Butler's going to wait for it to get to her, and she'll chip it back in, but only momentarily. Reading that play is Stevenson. That'll be Miley Stevenson, her sister Maya, out there with her, so I could see how that could get confusing. I have a brother. His name's not really close to mine, both starting with L, and we get mixed up a lot. As McFadden works it up over the line and dumps it down in low. Gamble, she'll play it off the short side wall. Bourgeois trying to keep it in and gets poked past her. Good stick by McAdam. Far side, McDonald tips it in and past Gamble all the way back. Pinot takes away McFadden. In there supporting her defenseman was Murray. Works it up the wall, trying to get it out. On the far side is Mills. Up top here, nice little feed. Bourgeois down the middle, shot past the glove side off the end wall. Back out front, down in front, Gamble. Slow to get up, and I didn't quite see what happened there. I'll take it away off of her. She makes her way to the bench now. Didn't quite see what happened. Maybe the stick got her up high or something, but she heads off to the bench now, and a stoppage of play. Faceoff's going to stay inside here with 10:38 remaining on the clock. So hopefully she's all right. She's down. She's getting attended to on the bench. I didn't really see what exactly happened. Now she'll head down, looks like into the tunnel area in between the stands and the bench. She goes down the tunnel now. Hopefully she's okay. We'll keep an eye down on that tunnel to see she makes her way back up. Trainer tables down that hallway, so maybe she just had to go. Maybe it was her back. I have no idea. I didn't really see what happened. So
who knows at this point? You know, 4 games in a condensed time. You know, these ladies, they're used to playing 2 games a weekend, so this is a little bit of unprecedented times. But like you said, you know, you and I as former players and playing in tournaments and whatnot, obviously these are regular season games, and sometimes there's a little more on the line in a tournament play. But a condensed schedule and a lot of games in a small period of time sometimes is just a factor in those situations.
Absolutely, and most teams are used to playing 2 games in 2 days. That's kind of the standard. Never really, you know, 6 games in 2 or 3 days. Like you're stacking them up pretty big there, and they're all regular season games, so it goes towards your record. It's not like you're Oh, and an offside call there. Plord thought she got back on time, but that was really close. I don't know about that. She dove back. I thought the girl just had delayed just enough. I thought Lauren Ward had slowed down enough to allow Poirier to get back on side, but the official thought otherwise.
That's a 50-50 call there. One thing I will say that I did notice was the feet were up off the ice. So you could have your earlobe, your head, whatever on the other side of the blue line, but you have to have contact with your skate. So, I mean, I thought that was it was a good call, and I think either way it would have been the right call there. It's tough, you know, as a linesman out there. Sometimes your job's simple, but you know, across that line sometimes you got some mumbo jumbo, and it's tougher to see. But I think she did a good job there.
Yeah, and it's tough when she's diving back on her stomach, right? There's not really a definite, okay, she's over the line, right? She's just kind of, her whole body's going towards it. So, and a pad save, kicked out, rebound. One of the few that's been kicked out by Aiken here in the second period. Bourgeois walks, dishes it back. Here's Elaine. Shot blocked there by Richards. Another very good defenseman for the Wolves. She plays a very solid defensive game. So that shot there rattles around off the stick of Ward. I believe it also went off the knob of Aiken. And over to the far side, Elaine trying to work it back down as it gets worked past her as she peels off. Full new line out there for the Rockets up front. Colpitt's trying to pick it up off the bench. It goes off her skate. Now it'll be dumped in by Bourgeois. McGuigan on the end wall, having some trouble there. It kind of took a weird bounce off the Zamboni ruts. Clearing out to center, Lola Boutlier stops it and sends it all the way back down. Richard will have to go back. McGuigan rims it around for Richards over to the far side, ends up on the stick of Mills, who centers. Boutlier picks it off through her feet though. McAdam trying to work it in, and it's turned around back inside the blue line. Marissa Richard, what a feed for Daniel. She'll work it in, draw the call. Daniel from her backside will draw the call. She was in a little bit ahead of the defender Richards. She'll head off to the box for a tripping call, and Annabelle Daniel on a great feed from Marissa Richard, kind of threw some sticks, kind of had a step but got hauled down. 2 minutes for tripping will be the call, and that'll be charged to number 2, Maddie Richards, and she'll sit for 2 or less, and a power play upcoming here for the Rockets.
Yeah, power play for this Rockets team. Very good so far in the season. They're shooting at a 20.6%, and that number doesn't seem too high when you think of percentages, but when it comes to power play, that's a really good number, and they sit in 4th place in that regard. But on the other side of things, 83% here for the Wolves on the penalty kill.
And you see that shot got tipped on and still ended up kind of sticking to her like a Velcro, just kind of making sure nothing bouncing off her, and if she's jumping on it right away. And Aiken closing the door once again on a quick shot here.
Listen, I'll say this. I didn't play a whole lot of goalie growing up, but one thing I do know for sure is having buddies and playing for as long as we did, positioning is key. If you get yourself in a good position, sometimes you're going to make the save just by being in the right spot.
Exactly, and that's a big part of goaltending now, is just being in the right position because of how good the players are.
Well said.
So that's picked up by Annabelle. Daniel, high slot, dishing it. Ward, pad save by Aiken. Thomas clearing it on her backhand all the way down 200 feet.
Aiken is tracking the puck very well right now. I know Ward would have liked to get that back upstairs, but, you know, Aiken, what can you say? She's going post to post here, showing off the lateral movement, and, yeah, that's a couple times now she's stopped Ward on those post to post saves.
And you mentioned about being in position. Ward had not much to shoot at. She had to go upstairs because the bottom of the net was really taken away as she got there in time, reading the play really well. Picked up, here's Ward with the most recent great opportunity as she works it in on her backhand, driving towards the net. Ward shot off the post. Ward's been all around the net. She has 1 goal. She's probably could have 3 or 4 here now. Annabelle Daniel to the high slot, trying to drop it back. Boutlier is going to walk into it. Shot off the post. Daniel picks up the rebound. She'll leave it back. Boutlier finds Daniel far side, down low. Richard out of the corner, finds in front. Colpitt's big pad save, rebound, and a pad save still loose. Apparently, can't find it or see it now. It'll be held on to by Aiken. What a save there by Alexa Aiken, and continuing to show us why she is in nets here this afternoon. And what a save. She's been unbelievable.
I mean, that was just spectacular. Once again, lateral movement, the key there. She is tracking that puck, kind of has an idea of what the play they're looking for, and that's what happens. If you watch her for this whole shift, you watch her head. That's what I was doing for the last couple of seconds there. She's constantly scanning the ice, looking where the options are, and another good setup here by the Rockets. And, you keep talking about her, but it's a power play down here, and the Rockets have been pressing hard here. So, Aitken, the story of the game here so far.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, that 2-goal lead still here in the second period as it goes back into the Rockets zone. As you mentioned, worst lead in hockey is a little bit of a miscommunication there. Murray gets to it first as Bourgeois and Fitzpatrick went to switch going back, and Bourgeois kind of took a second there to realize what was going on. But Colpitts was alone, wide open in front, as that'll do it for the power play here. Back to 5-on-5. McFadden over the blue line, dumps it in. Up to the far side wing, trying to chip it out is McAdams. She'll battle on the half wall. Back to the point, shot there, blocked by Misha Pino.
Pino says, you know what, I'll take a save from you here, Aitken.
Yeah,
Give you a
you've done
quick
a
breather.
lot. Yeah, exactly. You just killed off that power play for us with 2 or 3 spectacular saves on her stomach, really. She was kind of down and out. Nice pass there by Pino. That was on the stick of McAdam and over the line. That drop pass aired, picked off. McFadden over the blue line. She'll work it to the middle of the ice. She has McDonald driving the net, and McFadden will just choose to dump it in deep. She peels off for a change at the end of her shift. That puck up through everyone, can't connect with McNeil, and that's going to go all the way down. Bootlier there to touch it. As we were mentioning, Bootlier got a shot there on the power play that rang off the post. And
There's 2 there, her and Ward.
Yeah, and her defensive game is exceptional. Then you add in the factor that she can shoot the puck as well as she can, and makes for a pretty solid defenseman back there in number 2.
One thing I like about Bootlier's game is she's not trying to be somebody who she isn't, Her attacks are calculated. She jumps in the play when necessary. It's not every single time, and, that translates, what they say, good defense is the best offense, and, it's proof there.
Exactly, and she let a shot go there, got blocked as she tried to get it towards the net. McGuigan up to center, knocked off of her stick. Duncan dumps it in. She'll give chase onside. She'll try to pressure Bootlier into making a mistake, but McNeil picks it up. Centers, Thomas pokes it back down low as the Wolves now looking to try to get some offensive zone time here, back to 5-on-5 after they kill off that penalty on a few good saves by Aitken.
Yeah, that penalty kill percentage will jump up a couple notches here after that one.
And really, your best defender is your goalie. When it comes down to it, that's the last line of defense. And when your goalie's playing as well as she is, you just got to try to find a way to put a couple in for her and behind the opposition's net. And the Wolves yet to do that. But here's a chance for Pino at the point, and it's blocked by McDonald. And we get to talk about her again, doing everything and all the small things right here in the call-up is McDonald.
Yeah, sometimes you're in the shooting lane, you're not trying to be, but job well done there from McDonald. She gets into that shooting lane, and once again, we talked about goalie positioning. Player positioning is the thing, too. You want to take away those shooting lanes, those clear shots from the point, and she did a good job there, so doing a good job out there so far here.
Yeah, and mentioned earlier her coming into the game as an AP as Poirier winds a slap shot on rebound. Plourde gets to it down low. Lily Plourde, fresh off of 3-game suspensions. She served throughout the showcase tournament here, so she'll get an opportunity to show her display of skill. Ward and a big pad save. Aiken rebound. Another save by Aiken. Alexa Aiken putting on a goaltender's clinic down in between the pipes.
Ward is going to have to go buy her a coffee or something like that after this showing. Man, she has been robbed 3-4 times. She's got to tip the cap at some point.
As that's worked down low, centering pass, worked back to the point. Poirier works it down, spinning away from pressure over top of the circles, looking for a stick or a skate or a body maybe to deflect that in. Back to Poirier at the point. She'll work it back. Cormier's shot blocked by Stevenson. Picked up Elaine. Lets one go, sent wide. As you said, the Wolves, they'll be happy to just let everything go from the point and on net of Aiken and let her deal with that. It's trying to keep everything to the outside here. The Wolves can't let anyone sneak in behind you. Plourde trying to cut to the net. Webster knocked off of her stick. Plourde's shot blocked by Stevenson. Ward in the corner. She's trying to get her second of the game. She's had a lot of good opportunities. As you mentioned, maybe you'll have to buy her a coffee or something as she's been robbed here a couple times. Stevenson without a stick. She gave it over to the defender as that puck cleared his on her back side hand. I guess she's using the wrong side. Stick is a shot on. Rebound sat there for a second. As you saw that clear attempt by Blackure, she had the stick, but it was the wrong way. She couldn't get all of what she wanted on it.
It's such a hard moment to decide, do I give my stick to the defense? Obviously, she's a little bit more important to have the stick. But 9 times out of 10, you give it back to the defense. All of a sudden, the puck's up at your wing, and you're trying to figure out how am I going to get this done. But, it's a team-first attitude, but it actually looks like we're going to have a penalty here. Blackure. I want to know what the call is.
I do too, because I don't know what.
Illegal equipment or something? I'm not sure. Last I checked, I don't think it's illegal to use the wrong-handed stick, but I don't know.
It's definitely not illegal. You see players, you do it all the time. That's not a penalty.
Let's figure out what it is before we jump to conclusions here.
Yeah, that's. I'm very confused now because the coach is also like, you kind of see all the coaches like, what are you calling here? Because
it was after the play too.
Yeah,
so I'm
absolutely.
Not really sure.
It was like nothing was going on. Like the arm wasn't in the air during the play, and you could see she had the wrong-handed stick. Obviously, her stick was in behind the net.
So let's see we'll check in on the game sheet here once we get into play.
I don't know what that call is. I know if I was a player right now, I'd definitely be in the box for another 10 minutes, and McGuigan's going to go for 10.
Oh no, she get hipped up?
Yeah, I believe she did. Yeah, she did. The hips go there, and now she's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not condoning that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day,
definitely some frustration, right? You're down by 2. You're trying to work back into a game, and a call like that, kind of cheeky.
Yep, I'd be lying if I said I didn't do that
I've done
20,
that walk
30
a couple
times.
times out of this rink, actually, and I'd probably be doing it in that situation myself under that. Frustration would be at an absolute 110 after something like that.
So still waiting for the official call here. Coach is not too happy with this. Obviously, we have no idea what she said, and to be fair, we probably couldn't repeat it anyways, but yeah, I mean, that's tough. Frustration is a real thing, and, like I said, I wasn't condoning what she said, but, you get teed up for something you maybe didn't think you were supposed to, and at that point you're thinking, well, I'm already in here for 10 minutes, so might as well actually say something. But, that's obviously the wrong way to go about it, and I've learned that over the course of my career, but I don't know.
Some frustration.
Tension's high here, maybe,
absolutely.
I guess.
Well, you're in a 2-goal game with the first-place team, and you've been sticking around, and you have an opportunity to knock off a first-place team here at home, technically, really speaking, in your own tournament, last week game of the tournament, and on something like that, it would definitely be a frustration, like, just built up after. So Stevenson's not going to have to go serve the penalty, so it was just a 10-minute, I believe 2:10, so 20 minutes in penalties.
That's the one you don't feel as bad about. Now, McGuigan's a big loss for their D-core, but, when you don't put your team shorthanded, you can kind of go to the dressing room and not feel as guilty about it. I know, like I said, a lot of this stuff that we're speaking on is just from experience.
Absolutely.
If there's one thing I can touch on, it's being in the penalty box, unfortunately, but another power play here for the Rockets, so we'll see what the Wolves have in store here. They are one shot away from getting the pressure right back on the Rockets here, so they got to kill this off and get back to work.
Absolutely, and we talk about it, the shorthanded goal would be really nice to just kind of get them back within one and try to get the momentum that they've been trying to build up throughout the game here. Late stages of the second period, 2:15 remaining on the clock. Richard back to the point. Poirier walks it down the middle. She'll walk it all the way in as close as she can. Drop pass for Ward. She'll dish it off. Annabelle Daniel, far side shot there, high blocked. And Pino will dump it down. Great job by Pino, sacrificing her body, as we mentioned, doing it both ways, offensively and defensively, is Misha Pino.
Yeah, I want people that are watching here to take a look at the Wolves penalty kill and watch them move in unison in the square there in the box on the penalty kill. That's why Poirier ran out of space there. She walked in, she was looking at a shot, but they do a great job of moving as a unit here once they get set.
Absolutely, knowing their triggers, and as a penalty killer myself, that was kind of mainly my role. I know the odd here or there, get the power play or whatever, but my main role was a defensive penalty killing defenseman, and when everyone's working in unison, it makes it so much fun and easy to kill penalties because you're out there knowing you're contributing to your team in some way or form, maybe not offensively, but you're helping your team out defensively, as Poirier will work it here for Ward. She'll work it up top. Lauren Ward opened the scoring. Drop pass here. Poirier out of her reach, and now here's an opportunity. As we were talking about the shorthanded opportunity. Can't get the feet going fast enough. Cormier pressured the puck down. Fournette backhands it around for Ward up the wall. Poirier up with her. Up ahead for Elaine. The second unit now out for the Rocket here. Zoe Elaine back down low for Audrey Poirier, who will spin away from pressure, and back up top. Poirier's going to set things up. Walking up top through the middle. Oh, a nice move there around Thomas. Far side looking back door, but it was in the air and into the corner. McFadden, that'll be killed off though, is back to 5-on-5 action. Blacure out of the box. As curious to see what the call was for. Still trying to wait for the update here up in the booth from down below as it's worked back to the neutral zone. Here's Thomas getting center, chipping it up ahead. 2-on-1 opportunity. Thomas backdoor as Stevens couldn't handle the hard pass on her backhand. Just out of her reach. Stevenson out of the bench. Shot. Rebound loose in front. Fournette got a shoulder on it. Delayed call coming up here right at the buzzer. So after 2 periods of play, still 2-0 for the Rockets, and a power play here to start the third period for the Wolves.
Yeah, it's a big kill to finish the period here. If you're talking about building momentum heading into the intermission, that's definitely part of it. Just another unreal period from Aiken there. You touched on it earlier about the goalie trying to be or having to be your best penalty killer, and I think she was proof of that there. So they're going to get a power play to start the third period here. Hopefully they're going to try and get themselves back on the momentum side of things, but this is a tough team to beat, especially with Claire Fournette down there in the net here for the Rockets.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about momentum, probably one of the biggest things you can really have on your side in a hockey game is the old lady Mo, as Coach Gardner McDougall would say. And you kind of lose momentum when you lose one of your top defensemen in Brooke McGuigan on kind of a frustration penalty, I guess you could say. So they look to build that here to start the third period. We'll be back here in about 10 minutes or
before
time.
we step away, Logan, I do believe we are going to have a special guest join you for the third period, so I'll be stepping away. You'll have, I believe, a lady from the Mount Allison hockey team joining you here for the third period to do some color commentary. It'll be a much better vision of the game than me, someone who's gone through the female game and continues to play. So we'll introduce her when she comes, but I look forward to hearing her views and thoughts on the female game so far, and a big third period coming up here. So we'll step aside, and thank you for having me, and I'm going to go back and I'm going to take a minute and listen in myself.
Awesome. Sounds good. We'll see you in about 10 minutes time, everyone. Welcome back here, folks, for a third period of action live from the Credit Union Place in Summerside, PEI, as we get set for third period of action. Joined in the third period, I'll be joined here with Emily McGuigan, a.k.a. Wiggy, joining me for the first half of the third, and Taylor Hunter, who played for the Eastern Stars last year, will join me for the second half on the color commentary. Emily, welcome, and thanks for joining me up here for the third.
Thanks for having me.
Emily, you played PEI hockey growing up.
Yep.
Coming in here for a game like this, what's that mean to you to see these girls playing at such a high level?
I think it's really cool to see because I've known a lot of these girls for a few years now, and I've practiced with them every time I come home. And I think the league is just growing so much over the past years, and it's really great to see how the hockey's been progressing.
Yeah, exactly. Your sister took a couple penalties in the last period. She won't be returning today. A little sister rivalry. How have you guys, grown up in this game together?
Me and Brooke have never really been on the same team, but I think that we've always had a little rivalry. Anytime we go on for a family ice, we always do skates and we always chase each other or try to do races and stuff. But I think I went away for school and Brooke stayed here in PEI to play hockey. And I think over the years we've gotten a lot closer because of hockey. And obviously I come from a hockey family, so we've always kind of bonded over that. And coming to watch Brooke's game, I haven't watched a game in a few years for her, and it's crazy to see her improve so much as she has.
Yeah, no, she's been a great defenseman for the Wolves so far this year, and looking forward to seeing where her hockey journey takes her after this year for sure. Your season over at Mount Allison, how's that going so far?
It's been a bit of a rocky start. We haven't had a win yet this year, but I think we're really close as a team, and we're pushed really hard in practice. And honestly, only can go up from now, so we're just going to keep pushing in practice, and I think we're going to get a win soon enough.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And I know it might be tough. I was on a couple tough teams losing a lot of games in the last couple of years, but what's some motivation to keep you guys going into the Christmas break?
I think our last couple games, we've definitely had a few rough ones, but we all know that we push each other in practice really hard, and our coaches expect a lot of us, and they know that we can win. And I think it just keeps pushing us to know that if we keep putting in the work, we practice at 6:30 in the morning. No other teams are doing that. We're working out every day of the week, so we know that if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to get results.
Absolutely. And coming over here to watch some of the younger talent, speaking of the younger talent, Annabelle Daniels, she's been a real standout player for the Rocket here so far. Any thoughts on watching the game so far on her?
On her, I think she's very well at moving the puck, and I've watched her a few times now. Have good forechecks, really fast feet. I've seen a few hard shots from her. She's a very smart player overall, and yeah. Yeah,
in 2011, born still a rookie in the league and putting up big numbers here so far, so it's going to be interesting to see how far she'll make it in her hockey career for sure. As we get back to action here, Poirier, that puck worked past her all the way down. No icing as Fournette pokes it away from McNeil down low. Looking over an option, she'll cycle it down for Kinley Duncan off the end wall in the corner, trying to work it back to the point. Arsenault in there, not denying that as McFadden picks it up and chips it off the glass into the neutral zone. Thomas is going to go back. Blacure, penalized for using the wrong-handed stick in the second period, is back out there. Now as you were here for that call, a little bit of a weird one. I haven't seen a call like that before. What are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I don't even know what was happening there. I was texting my sister right after she got kicked out, and I was asking what was going on, and I don't really think any of them knew that there was a penalty for not using the right stick, but I think it was a funny one for sure.
Yeah, it's something you don't really see called too often. As I said, I've never really seen it called before, so first for everything, I guess. And that's what these tournaments are all about, is getting some memories, and that's a memory for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
As you see, a save there from Alexa Aiken. She's been pretty good. She's allowed 2 goals, but some of the saves she's been making here in the period and up to this point have been pretty spectacular. What are your thoughts on her?
I mean, we were just saying a couple minutes ago, she's been playing unreal this game. She's had a bunch of desperation saves that have really saved the girls to stay in this close 2-0 game. And I think that Alexa has been a great addition for the Wolves, and she's really been standing on her head for them this game.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you've watched a few of the games online throughout the year. I know you have a busy schedule, but from a player who's watching the games, what's something you think the Wolves here can build on looking forward to the second half of their season?
I think that they definitely are a team that cares a lot about their hockey, and I think they use that in their forechecks especially. And I've seen a lot of really good back checks, especially from their D that are trying to get up in the play. And I think if they can utilize how hard they want it and how hard they're working, I think they're going to see results as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been to a couple of their games here on the island, and they've been they kind of stick around. They always seem to be in close games.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they can't squeak out a couple victories here in the second half and try to get them up higher in the standings. As Fitzpatrick plays it down the wall, picked off by McPherson and cleared out into the neutral zone. Played there for Poirier, who will wheel it up. Audrey Poirier, one of the top point getters for her squad. She sits second behind Annabelle Daniels as that puck centered off the body. Poirier trying to chip it down around McPherson as McAdam trying to chip it out now. Held at the line by Savoie. You see the female hockey scene developing more and more. Now the two expansion teams in the PWHL. What are your thoughts on how female hockey has been developing over the years?
I think it's honestly amazing, like seeing the crowds that the PWHL gets. And like when I was growing up, you didn't really have a lot to look forward to after university for girls hockey, and there was always kind of like that stop moment. But now like young girls are seen wearing the PWHL jerseys, and they all got a favorite team. So I think that's great for young girls playing hockey. Now they have something to dream of when they get older.
Absolutely, and I was talking about how popular it's becoming. The tickets in Halifax for those two games coming up later in the month have already sold out. So talk about how popular the female hockey is right now. As that shot in, sent wide, as Duncan collects it on the half wall. Trying to chip it out. Good job by Lauren Ward. As that goes off a skate back. Diving for it over there was Blackhure, chipping it into the middle of the ice. Richards collecting, trying to center, but off a stick. And back here, just inside the blue line, McFadden will wheel it back in her zone. Get her feet moving up ice, down the far side, right before center, off the stick on the dump-in attempt as it goes off the stick of, I believe, Thomas, and up into the crowd on the far side. So your dad, the coach of the Summerside Capitals, I've played against his team multiple times. I know what they're all about. You growing up here as a kid, what are something that you can say about the Capitals organization that, you know, maybe some people don't really know about the organization, or even your dad as a whole?
I would like, one thing I think about when I think about the Caps is they're a very community team. Like when I was growing up, they were always being a part of like shows or showing up for young kids teams, and hosting a lot of events for the public, especially like this week. I don't know, yesterday when the Wolves were playing, they were all at the boards cheering on the team. It was really fun, but I know they make an effort to really be a part of the community because the community always gives back and shows up to their games.
Absolutely, yeah. I always see they are always doing some fun stuff in the community and around Summerside, and even just on the island in general. So
yeah,
it'd be pretty cool to grow up in an environment like that and come into the rink, you know, having a little bit of backdoor access, I guess you can kind of say, into the room, and just being around that right from your childhood up. And as you can obviously attest, it's kind of carried into your adulthood now here playing for Mount Allison. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
As back to play here, Bourgeois holds the line. Murray picks it off, centering pass onto the stick of McAdams in a foot race. Cormier will chase it down. Good job there by Cormier. She'll spin away from Pesher up the wall, chipping it up off the skates of the official. It'll stay in. Shot there from outside, and Fournette will hang on for a whistle. 14 minutes exactly remaining in the third period. 2-0 lead for the Rockets, as I'm joined with Emily McGuigan. Thank you so much for joining me here today, bringing your teammates here for steak dinner back at home. How's that? I know Billy just left to go cook those up. That must be some treat.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love me and my roommates are really close, and it's been really nice getting to show them the rink and show them where I'm from, and getting them to watch the Wolves play against the Rockets here today, and unreal that we get to come home for a steak dinner.
Absolutely. It's nothing better than a home-cooked meal, especially playing away from home.
Yeah, for sure.
Fitzpatrick at the point, holds the line. Nice job there. Nice move. Shot there. Rattles around a couple bodies and into the far side corner. Duncan picking it up, moving her feet up the ice down the far side. She'll cut to the middle across the Caps logo and over the blue line now, and she'll dump it in deep. Around for Poirier to the far side. She'll get there first. Nice little spin move. She'll protect the puck and stop up, using her net as coverage as she centers right onto the skate of Plourde outside the zone. Lily Plourde Gets it knocked back in. That looked like it could have been offside. Puck worked back in, though, maybe by Plurd, so it took away the offside. Worked out. Fitzpatrick through the neutral zone with some speed over the blue line. Fitzpatrick on her forehand drives it all the way down and below the goal line. Still with it. Fitzpatrick centers. Worked back. Boutlier can't hold the line. How's the year going on a personal level for you, or forward defenseman? How's the year going?
I'm a defense, and I found that so far this year, the league's definitely a huge step up from what I was playing in the past couple of years. And I played in the JWHL, and it's definitely a different type of hockey. I find that the AUS is really rough, and there's a lot of really big girls and really smart hockey. But I've definitely found my place, and I feel like I'm doing a really good job of just using my body and kind of using that towards my advantage. And just this year I'm really trying to focus on just being myself as a player, not trying to get too out of what I am personally.
That's awesome to hear. And you mentioned early morning practices. I know those are tough. I'm not a real morning person, but how do you kind of get motivated for something like so early in the morning?
Honestly, I think the best way to think of it is like no one else in the league is getting up that early and putting the work in. So it's a really early start to our day, 5:30, be at the rink at 6, but we got to think of it as if we want to see results, we got to put in the extra hours. So honestly, I think that's the best way to get us motivated in the morning.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And, you know, I was never a morning person, so those morning practices were always tough for me. I know as a kid, I was fortunate enough in junior and stuff, we didn't really have too many early morning practices and stuff like that, but I just remember waking up early morning as a kid and just dreading getting into that cold rink first thing in the morning, getting out of the warm bed. But it definitely shows in the long run for sure. And you guys looking to build off of a season that maybe, you know, you're struggling here in the first half, but there's always the second half of the year to build onto, right? So
yeah, for sure.
As a delayed call coming up here, a cross-checking call will be charged. Looks like it's going to be Blackure again going to the box. You mentioned the AUS being physical. Watching this weekend, have you noticed a difference between that style of play and the play that you're playing here? You know, maybe some players going to take that next step in the AUS with physicality being more of a factor.
Yeah, I mean, in AUS, it's definitely like checks are allowed a little more body contact. And I think some girls will definitely get a hit when they see like going into battle drills and you're not just going to be soft in the corner, like you're actually going to be hit. The puck's going to be taken from you. But I think watching this weekend for sure, these girls are definitely rough. And I think that if any of them are looking to go towards that next level, they'll be fine adjusting to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much for joining me, Emily. We're going to turn it over here to Taylor in a sec, but I want to say good luck the rest of the year, and thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Joined now with Taylor Hunter here for the remaining 10 minutes on the clock. Taylor, playing for the Eastern Stars last year in this league. What's something as a personal experience from this league that you want to share on like a good level of, I guess, I don't know how really to question this. I kind of messed up the questioning on it, but like how would you say on like a personal level you've taken away your experience from this league into your personal life?
This league was really good, especially because I feel like before this league existed, it was hard for girls not going away for prep school to get seen by universities. So it's nice that I was able to kind of like open the door for opportunities for people in this league to go play AUS or even higher. So that was something very good, and you didn't see that a lot before, and now it's starting to become more popular, which is awesome.
Yeah, and You were mentioning getting eyes on more female hockey around the Maritimes, and that's kind of what our job is right, being able to see, not having to get to the rink to watch, just being able to see from the, Boston or something like that in the States, right? So awesome to hear that we're able to help you guys out on that level.
Yeah,
at
for
least.
sure, yeah.
As the Rockets looking to break things out here on the power play. Worked up, far side. Zoe Elaine over the line. Down low, she's pressured there, pinched off on the wall by Richards. Rodier in there to try to help her teammate work it out, as that'll do it for the power play. Back to 5-on-5, McFadden on the half wall. Nice move around Richards. She'll spin away from pressure once again. McFadden with a beautiful goal here to end the first period, as we haven't seen anything after that, as we're now into the third. Rodier trying to get it in deep, poked away from her. Thomas and her mixing it up on the far side boards. They're still tangled up over there. As that puck battled into some feet. Pino trying to work it out. You playing for Team Atlantic a couple years ago with Audrey Poirier, seeing the success they had this year, winning the silver medal at the Nationals. What's something that you want to say to them, maybe watching at home on a personal level?
It was so exciting, especially because I remember the feeling of being there and how it was like. And even though we weren't very successful our year, I still had an amazing experience, and I'm going to take life lessons away from that. So this year, watching them and seeing them be so successful is awesome for the Maritimes and the Atlantic provinces, because I feel like we get looked down sometimes. And so we kind of just proved our point there, and it was awesome to see. I'm very proud of all the girls.
Yeah, and I got to interview with one of the goaltenders for the team yesterday, and she kind of said that one of her favorite memory was actually kind of when they got into the tournament, they took Quebec to overtime, and it kind of showed the rest of the teams that, hey, we're there, we're here, and we're ready to compete, and it kind of put a little bit of a spotlight on them. So you saying that just kind of relays her same information, and the Atlantic provinces are here to play, and we're growing, and we're becoming a powerhouse of a organization, I guess you could say, and it's something to watch out for.
Yes, for sure.
This year with the Mount Allison Mounties, tough season to start. How is something you're kind of looking forward to the second half, maybe to build towards up into the second half of the season into next year?
I think we just need to start scoring some goals and getting the puck in the back of the net. And I feel like once we get that first win, we're just going to build on that momentum. I just feel like we just need to break it and make sure we get that first win. And I feel like after the break, everyone's going to go home and reset, and we're going to come back stronger and just kind of take it as a fresh new start.
Yeah, get your mind right over Christmas, have some turkey dinner, and,
yes,
and be ready to go. That's good goal, right? And you talk about momentum being one of the biggest factors in a hockey game. Gardner McDougall talking about it when he won the Mem Cup with St. John, how you got to keep the momentum in the building. You can't let the momentum leave. In a game like this, down by 2, what's something the Wolves are really looking to do here to just try to get something going back their way?
I feel like they just need to start pushing the puck up the ice and getting some key shots. I feel like they're right there with them, and once that first shot goes in, I feel like they're going to build the momentum and keep it going, and I feel like they can definitely come back.
Absolutely, and like you said, they're right there, and they seem to be in most games, and they just can't seem to get that puck past Claire Fournette, who's done a great job here so far. Both goalies playing excellent. Aiken doing a great job. You playing for the Stars last year, did you ever play with likes of Ellie Mullen or anything like that?
Yeah, Ellie was a second year when I was on the team, and we were very close friends, actually. So I still keep in touch with her during this day, and I was looking at I watched some of their games as well, and she's doing very, very well. I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, no, and she got to represent Team Atlantic getting the silver medal. She's the captain now for your former team, the Stars, and I'm sure passing the torch down to a well-deserved candidate feels good as you move on.
Yeah.
As that'll be held on 2-4 whistle by Fournette. 6:20 remaining here on the clock in the third period. Still 2-0 the lead. Offensive zone draw for the Wolves. They look to cut the lead in half and try to get back within 1 here within the next couple minutes or so they can try to tally on a tying up goal, but getting kicked out of that draw will delay that as McFadden getting tossed. Richard will dig in now. Back for Arsenault. She'll rim it around. Annabelle Daniel, watching her, a rookie in the league this year. What are your initial thoughts on watching such a young player do something so special here in the first half of the year?
It's awesome to see, especially because I feel like sometimes the younger girls, like as a rookie myself this year, sometimes it's challenging to step into that role, but playing a big role like that, she's doing super, super well, and it's helping her team a whole lot.
Absolutely, and she seems to kind of enjoy the spotlight. We've had a couple chats with her a couple times. We did a video with her, and she seems to really enjoy it. Now comes from a good hockey family. Her brother played for Moncton and stuff like that, right? So it kind of runs in the family, but you're seeing a young girl just really dominate kind of this league and on all aspects of the game. She's, you know, she'll kill a penalty, but at the same time, she's out there scoring goals like no one else, right? So it's great to see for this game, and I'm sure you're going to see her name somewhere in the future.
Yeah.
So I want to introduce your teammates here that are with us. I know a couple people are curious. We have 6 of the Mount Allison Mounties joining us here. We just talked to Emily McGuigan, now with Taylor Hunter, a couple others with you. You want to give them a quick shout out?
I have a couple of my roommates here with me. I have Grace Allison and Emily Daniels and Noah Maricola, and we also have another one of our rookies, Meredith Henderson, here as well with us. And it's just nice to be able to come home and show them PEI and kind of what it's like over here.
Absolutely, and you mentioned Grace. Her brother, Ben, I played with him growing up, so I've seen their family quite a bit around the rink actually when I was younger, and actually up into junior and stuff like that too, so I recognize the face there as you mentioned her name now that you say it. So she has her Sam, I think, as well as her brother. Sam, he played at St. FX as well.
Yeah, she has a very good hockey family.
Yeah, her dad playing as well for a long time. Now a real estate agent in Halifax, actually. Scott was one of my coaches for a number of years playing spring hockey. Kind of a small hockey world, as you probably know, as it'll be worked around. Far side. Trying to win it out of the corner. Ward shot off the blocker once again. Alexi Aiken shutting the door. Puck chipped in there by Savoy. It goes all the way down. Boutler's going to give chase in behind her own net. Pressured by Webster. Turned over. Maya Stevenson's going to take a hit from Boutler, and that'll draw a penalty. It's going to be a cross-checking call as a power play here upcoming for the Wolves, and that's probably just what they need here. Just under 5 minutes remaining. A little bit of momentum and a power play opportunity. What's something that maybe they want to try to get just pucks towards the net, or do they want to try to set up a play and set something up pretty, or are they just trying to bang something in here?
I feel like they're definitely going to set up a play here and get maybe that first goal, because once that first goal's in, they're right there and they can keep building on that momentum.
Exactly. So a timeout here for the Wolves. We'll be back after this 30-second break. And we're back here for the last 4 minutes and 46 seconds of the third period, trailing by 2. The Wolves are going to head to the power play as they look to get back within 1 here with a little momentum swing. They're going to pull their goalie 6-on-5. What do you think of that strategy?
I think it's good. It's a little risky, especially if they get that puck down for an icing, but in a 2-0 game, you got to do what you got to do to get that goal.
Absolutely. Here's a chance. McNeil shot blocked. Bourgeois is going to pressure McNeil. She'll cycle it back down low. Pino, backdoor, knocked away, and that puck cleared down. No icing. Bourgeois clears it out of harm's way, all the way in behind the goal line for the Wolves. McPherson back for it. Pressured by Cormier. Up the wall. Can't connect with Murray offside. As that goes off the body and back the other way. Here's a chance, working it up over the line. Backhand shot there, goes wide. Stevenson, as that's Maya Stevenson working it for Miley Stevenson. Puck goes over her stick. Pino back to the point and off the end of the blade. And back, McPherson will have to retrieve it. Anything you'd be doing differently here? Maybe a dump and chase and go get it? Or are you going to try to stick with the plan and trying to set things up?
I feel like they should definitely keep possession of the puck, especially with the empty net. So once they get it back here, I feel like they just need to enter the zone and get something going.
Awesome, and here's an opportunity for Murray to set things up. She'll weave it in. Centering pass goes on through the skate of Daniel. She tried to get it out, but McNeil out-muscles her and works it back down low. Poirier keeping her wide. You mentioning playing with Audrey Poirier, quite the skilled defenseman. Anything that people at home, young girls at home watching, should take away from watching her game?
Even outside the rink, she's just an amazing person. She's always super bubbly. She's a great leader, and she's one of the most hardworking girls I know. And it was awesome being able to play with her and get to know her. I always used to talk to her after the games and see what's going on in her life.
Daniel's shot at the open net goes wide. Pinot, far side, picks it up. 6-on-4 continuing here. The Wolves still yet to get set up on the power play. Pinot's going to skate in, shot there, glove save by Fournette. Is a good job there by Fournette closing the glove on the puck, and with 8 seconds remaining here, we'll see if the goalie goes back in the net. See, with 8 seconds, would you be putting the goalie back and you taking the 5-on-4 here, or are you still trying to push that late goal?
I would still be trying to push the late goal. I just think the defense need to be aware of that girl coming out in the box there in 8 seconds.
Yeah, you got to be well aware. Definitely have that internal clock ticking for sure, especially in a kind of a do-or-die here situation late. They've hung around. It'd be great to see them score one and try to, just with the last couple minutes, really put on a big push here to get back tied up here. The last game of the tournament. Is this your first, second, third game of the weekend getting to attend to, or?
I just came home today, but I watched the Stars versus Wolf game online the other day just to see how the rivalry would go.
Yeah, and you got to play in that rivalry. Anything that, some people might not know about that rivalry, and, the only two teams over here in PEI, obviously playing each other quite a bit. Anything that from that rivalry that'll stick with you for your hockey career?
It's definitely super fun being able to play against your friends. I feel like I get a little more gritty when I know the person I'm battling against, and then off the ice we're just friends again. So it's super fun to be able to battle against your friends for sure.
Absolutely. And then you go to school or something the next day and you're like,
yeah.
Oh, hey, how's it going? And you
Exactly.
just try to act normal. And that's hockey, right?
Yeah.
You play out on the ice and, spirits get high, but at the end of the day, everyone's in the same mindset and trying to do the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So there's never normally too many situations you see boil over anymore now.
No.
It's kind of everything stays on the ice. But like you said, a good rivalry, and it's always fun to play against the crosstown rivals. I know, speaking from experience, playing against Grace's brother Ben when we were in midget, the rivalry across the bridge in Halifax between Dartmouth and Halifax was always something that you circle on your calendar, and I'm sure you did the same when you were to face off against the Wolves.
100%, and everyone always comes to the games like all friends and family, and it's always a good game to watch.
Yeah, the atmosphere's there a little bit more, right? For sure. McFadden's going to head to the box here on a play behind the play, I guess, and a roughing call, so maybe giving a shot there to someone in behind the play. So another power play here with just under 2 minutes remaining. So a 2-minute power play with only 1:58 will finish on the power play here. 6-on-4 for the Wolves. Off the draw, shot, pad save. Any thoughts so far watching Claire Fournette in between the pipes down there for the Rockets?
She's super strong. She seems to be seeing everything and kind of keeping her team in this important game, and it's good to see.
Yeah, and she's not the tallest goalie, but positioning being a big factor for goaltenders nowadays with how good the players are.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts so far, seeing her, just kind of always being there for the save, maybe not taking up the whole net, but being right there for just to get a piece or something on it, right? So
100%, and it seems like her defense are doing a good job at keeping people out of the net as well and keeping those rebounds far.
Yeah, and it's been a goalie battle. Let's call a spade here, down in the other end. Alexa Aiken, she was unbelievable here. She's on the bench now as they continue 6-on-4. Murray up off top of the circles. She'll work it back down low. McNeil towards the net, shot wide, goes by the Greenfoot Energy Solutions. That's tipped on. You saw there's Fournette. Shot got tipped on. The stick of Fournette goes into the boards. She's pretty calm down there. Hey, that puck got tipped on just in front of her, and she's just, it's in my chest. I'm just going to sit here, and didn't overreact, didn't, look for it. She just calmly into her chest. And that's a sign of a goalie who has a slow heartbeat, kind of like those, you see those all-star players that they just never seem phased. And,
Yeah.
and that kind of reminded me of it. As that puck loose, she just seems calm and she tracks the puck very well. And shot on, tipped, rebound, and that goes through. And they thought it was home free. Is another save for net into her feet. And we'll wait to see as they think it's a goal here. Now some pushing and shoving. It goes on. Savoie goes down. Heads up as Colpitts runs over someone there as the puck sat on the goal line. Fournette scooted way out. We'll wait to see. With 1 minute and 12 seconds left, we'll have to wait and see what the refs think. You can't really tell from up here. The Mount Allison Mounties are saying it's a goal.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to see. She was already a little bit in her net when she saved it, so we'll see what the refs have to say here.
Yeah, they just waved it off, so probably not enough evidence to say it was.
I guess
And
not.
she was on her backside, but the puck kind of went in her legs, but she was kind of in the net, and then she scooted out.
Yeah.
So you don't really know whether a puck goes in all the way when it's underneath the goalie. And that's a tough bounce for the Wolves. They thought they had one as the play right before that, a great chance, put it wide on a play that the net was open, but just couldn't find the back of the net. And a tough bounce there for them. They'll take the offensive zone draw. One back to the point, works D to D. McNeil shot there, blocked by the captain, Poirier. Poirier doing it offensive zone and defensively. Puck sent wide past the blocker and over to the short side. Murray cycling it down low in front. Thomas spins it out front, and that can't connect. Inside a minute now here remaining. McPherson goes back. Played for Poirier. She'll take a shot at the open net off the glove, and that goes wide as it'll be McNeil back for it. Puck chipped back through the neutral zone. Here's a chance. Stevenson over the line and offside as she made a move at the blue line. Centennial Cup coming here for the junior A level. Anything, are you going to come to the games or anything like that? I know it's been a while since the tournament. Something of this gratitude's been in Summerside.
100%. I even remember when the Caps were in playoffs, I think it was last year, the rink was fully packed, so I'm going to be excited to see how many people are going to show up for that. PEI is always super good at cheering on their teams, so.
Oh, yes, I'm well aware of all that. I was in Atlantic Championships over in Charlottetown in the UPEI rink, and there wasn't a seat available for that game. The fire marshal showed up and said no more people on the rink, and it was all people from PEI who played Kensington in the finals. As the final 10 seconds here, shot wide by Blacure. Webster keeping it down low, but that'll run out of time on the Wolves as they were looking to try to climb back, but a 2-0 win here for the Rockets over the Wolves. Nothing to hang your head about if you're the Wolves. A great game by their goaltender, Alexa Aiken. But down the other net, Claire Fournette shut the door for a shutout here. That's all for me on High Button Sports. I'm Logan Carruthers, joined for the second half of the third period with Taylor. Taylor, thanks for joining me, and best of luck the second half of your year.
Thank you very much.